replaced the skyscrapers with poppet heads, which are like our mining towers. When a poppet head closed because it couldn't get workers, the mine closed. When the mine closed, the pump stopped working. The pumps were there to keep the groundwater down so that your mines could get deeper. They reached what these days we call a tipping point. So many pumps closed down, they couldn't get down to where the gold was, and deep mining in Ballarat was abandoned for several decades, until the 1990s when they installed new pumps. What you do in the creek when you go panning for gold is called shallow alluvial gold mining. Shallow means not deep. Alluvial means, if you like, water-borne. In other words, the gold has been worn out, eroded out of the rock over millions of years by wind, rain, general weather, volcanic action, lightning strike, alien invasion, whatever you like. But as you'd expect with anything that's lying on the ground in what has been a wet climate for thousands of years, sooner or later it's going to get washed down to the lowest point of the landscape. The lowest point of the landscape is where you can find a river or a creek. So there were 3 stages of mining in Ballarat. There was a progression, in other words, they occurred one after the other. But occasionally, like today, they will occur at once. The first is what you do in our creek panning. The second is what Ballarat was famous for. About 8 kilometres behind me, there's a volcano. Its name is Mount Warranheap. 8 kilometres that way is another one called Mount Buninyong. And for a 50-kilometre area around Ballarat, there are many more. Millions of years ago, they got very upset. Lava flowed across this valley, molten rock. What that did was to bury all the existing creeks and rivers with, of course, all their tens upon tens of thousands of years worth of gold nuggets, alluvial gold nuggets trapped within. The other difference was there was nobody around looking for them back then. We hadn't come down from the trees. In the 19th century, about 1855, some of the miners figured it out. Some of them had seen the same conditions in California a few years before. They walked along to the edge of the old lava flow, which is right where my house is, and they dug down. 30 metres down, they found the first of those ancient riverbeds. They were, without doubt, the richest gold mines this planet has ever seen. In terms of the tiny size of the mine, a quarter the width, a quarter the height of the hallway in your house, but the massive concentration of alluvial gold nuggets. They called them jewellery shops. If you worked in one of those mines, you crawled along for part of your day on hands and knees through mud and running water with a candle to light your way in pitch darkness. Probably terrified some of the time, but occasionally you might have the opportunity to pluck out with your bare fingers a nugget the size of a pigeon's egg. Clearly, that was some of the most dangerous. The miners were trying to hold up a pile of wet pebbles and mud. Consequently, one miner drowned almost every fortnight. The gold I have in here, though, is non-alluvial. In other words, it hasn't been worn out or eroded from anywhere. It hasn't been in a creek or a river. It's where it was formed, and where it was formed is called the source. And the source is this: quartz, silicon, sand on the beach. One of the most common things on the surface of the earth. And it's in this, sometimes a kilometre underground in Ballarat, that you find the original frozen rivers of gold. So gold forms under incredibly high pressure, in solution, as almost a crystal in quartz, and then over millions upon millions of years may find its way to the surface where it gets eroded and ends up in a creek, or we go chasing it underground. Wherever you get your gold from, whether you get it working with one friend in a shallow alluvial mine like our creek area, 20 friends in a deep lead alluvial mine that's been covered by volcanic action, and that was our free Red Hill mine tour, or as part of a shift of 100 workers a kilometre below the ground in our main quartz mine, wherever you get your gold from. Unless you want to leave it as a natural gold nugget, then you need me. I'm an industrial blacksmith. It's my job to purify gold. Gold does not occur in nature in pure form. Now that implies there are impurities. Sometimes in Ballarat, it's silver. sometimes a strange thing called antimony. Most of the time, of course, it's going to be this. Silicon, sand on the beach, quartz. Or it's going to be something I've added to the gold in order to trap it. A miracle called quicksilver, which you know better as the element mercury. Mercury is a liquid metal, which is already fairly amazing. What interests us, though, is mercury's ability to almost instantly find, bind, and form what's called an amalgam, or a mixture, with many other metals, including gold. So if I take a copper plate and I coat it with mercury, it sticks, it stays stuck. Even if I then take that copper plate and I put it in the way of the slurry of crushed quartz, water, and hopefully gold that are coming out of the hammers of the battery next door, what sticks to the mercury is the gold. At the end of the day, I can scrape all that up. I pop it in this thing called a retort, and at 356 degrees, I can get the mercury to change state. It becomes a vapor, runs along this pipe, straight into a bucket of cold water, and then it changes state again. It condenses back into a liquid. That's good. That means I can use it again. Mercury is very expensive. What's equally good is that I don't breathe in the vapours, which over time will kill me. What I'm left with looks vaguely like gold. But the final process, which you're about to see, probably really hasn't changed for 10,000 years, that much. And that process is called smelting. And as the name implies, the vast majority of that is simply melting. Gold melts at 1063 degrees Celsius. I'm bringing this furnace to 1200. That's going to give me about 15 seconds to pour the gold. So if you happen to have a camera with you, now's the time to get it ready. And I would ask you, please, do not stand up, do not come any closer. The red line there is called the splash zone. If I did happen to spill the gold, that's how far it would reach. And if a drop fell on you, it would come out again. The other side. It can be. A simple cast iron mould gives the ingot its shape, also very quickly takes the heat out of the liquid gold. Bear with me folks, this bit takes a little bit of concentration.